Hello guys, in this video I'm gonna explain how you can create a new project and also talk about projects and composition differences in After Effects. So let's get started. You can see that I have opened After Effects, and if you go to the file you can create a new project by going to the new and clicking on new project. And a project is basically consists of multiple compositions. Okay, so you can think of the composition as a scene in a film. A film has got a lot of scenes, right? It is made up of scenes. Similar way, in After Effects the project is made up of compositions. It can have multiple compositions, composition 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. So let us see how we can create a new composition, and I will also show you how you can create multiple compositions, how you can combine two compositions into a single composition, and how you can create a movie out of that. So here you can see that I have already opened new project. So this is how the new project screen looks like. There is nothing right now in that project, no composition at all. Remember that at least one composition should be there in the After Effects projects, then only that project is meaningful. So let us create a new composition. As you can see in this screen, you can create a new composition, or you can create a new composition from a footage. So when you create a new composition without a footage, it will not fetch any footage. But if you create here, like click here in new composition from footage, you will have to select one video file, and then from there you can create a composition. But if you click here on new composition, then the footage is not required basically. So let us create a simple composition by clicking on this. Now each composition can have a different resolutions and width, height, etc. All these parameters can be changed for each composition. So you can see that for this composition we have selected HDTV. So there are different presets that you can use, and based upon that width and height is decided. You can also select this pixel aspect ratio and frame rate, resolution. All these things can be changed. So this resolution is different from this width and height that you see here. So resolution, this is useful only in case of if you want to preview that composition within Adobe After Effects. So this has no impact on the final quality of the movie. And in here you can specify the duration, like for how long that After Effects movie should be. So you can select that duration there, and then background color as well. So these are the important settings that you have to make here. We are not going to go into the advanced right now, so just these important settings are important. These are the important settings that you have to set. Then click on OK, and the composition is created. Now you can see that on the left hand side it is showing this composition. Basically you can also add the different assets, like if you want to bring in some image. So let us do that. So I'm gonna just bring one image over there. So for example this one. So this is how you can bring in the image, or if you want to bring in video files, you can do that here. So all the composition, all the images, videos will be shown here. So this is basically an assets for your project, and this is a composition. So if you select that composition, you can see that below here there is a timeline, and right now there is no layer in the timeline. So each composition can have multiple layers. Similar way, like how a project can have multiple compositions, a composition can have multiple layers. And how you can add the layers, so just select that composition, and then let us say we want to create a text layer. So at the top you will see this toolbox. So there is a text tool, or you can go to the layer and then click on new, and then from there also you can select. So remember that you have to select the timeline panel, and then only this particular option is getting enabled. And you can see that you can create a layer out of text, solid, light, camera, null object, shape layer. So very simple layers I'm gonna talk about in this video: shape layer and text layer. So let us create a text layer. Remember that we can create this layer from here as well by clicking on this particular tool. So once you do that, just start typing it here. So XYZ. So this is one layer is created. You can see at the bottom in this timeline one layer is added, layer number 1, and its so my name is XYZ. you can hide unhide that layer by clicking on this button, and if that layer has got the music, you can see this button there. You can remove that music from by clicking on this button. And then there is a hide all non-solo videos. This option is also available. And then prevent layer from being edited. So if you want to lock any layer, you can lock it like this, and then nothing can be done. Like you can't edit that layer if you have got locked on that. You can also have the color for this layer as well. So as I said, a composition can have multiple layers. So right now there is just one layer. Let us add another layer. Let us add our image on this composition. So you can see that this composition has got two layers, XYZ text and this image. So that is how the compositions are created, and you can see, if you want to play, this is how you can play. So right now nothing is going to happen because we haven't added any animation. So animations part I will be covering in next upcoming videos. Right now just focus on the part that a composition has multiple layers, and each layer we can add animations, effects, etc., which I'm going to cover later on. And here you can see the timeline. So right now we have got the composition of the duration 5.01 seconds, and that's why at the top you can see these seconds. You can also preview it by clicking here. You can stop it by clicking again the same button. So that is how the compositions are created. So right now this project has got just one composition, and what we can do is we can pre-compose. So for example, let us create a new composition out of this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just combine these layers and then click on pre-compose. So what happens is that new composition is created. So let us call it composition 2 and then click on OK. So you can see that on the left hand side there is another composition that has been created, and difference between composition 1 and composition 2 is that in composition 2 you can see that we created this composition out of two layers, but it is not showing those two layers here. That is the main benefit of having pre-composition. So basically we combine multiple layers into a single composition just for the sake of ease. And yeah, so when we have multiple compositions, if you want to create a movie out of the After Effects, you don't have to select all the compositions. You have to select just one composition, and that particular composition will be exported. So to do that, just go to the composition and then click on add to render queue. So once you click on that, render queue panel will open, and from here you can give this high quality settings, output model settings, and then also the file name by clicking here, and finally you can click on the render. So what happens in the end is that final movie will be created, and the duration of that movie will be 5 seconds, 5.01 seconds, because that was the duration for our composition. And you can also export multiple compositions as well. So for example, let us say you want to export this composition 1. So select composition 1, then go to composition and then render. Similar way you can also render or create a movie out of composition 2. I think that's enough information that you need to know about the projects and compositions in After Effects. If you have more questions, do not hesitate to put comments down in the video or write to me on replytosagar@gmail.com. Thank you for watching.